have julus or jalsa and mehfils to sing naat and to sing hymns and to sing verses and praises about the Prophet. But there's very little commitment to change their paganism and to follow his values. The Prophet made it clear by command that he was a human being. قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ يُوحَى إِلَيَّ أَنَّمَا إِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهُ وَاحِدٌ فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّي فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا. The Prophet made it very clear, I am a human like you. We are all humans. I am no better than you in terms of my nature. You and I can be evaluated based on how much we develop our minds or how much we allow our minds to be in the garbage of society. You and I can be evaluated on the basis of what we do with our life. How much of our life we take control of, or how much of it we allow to be controlled. That's what we need to evaluate. It's not where you come from. It's not what citizenship you have. It's not what language you speak. Not what clothing you wear. Not what cars you drive in. These means nothing. These are cheap examples. But it's what we do with life. What kind of energy you put in your children? What kind of energy I put in my children? What kind of resurrection I do for my own life? What kind of resurrection you do for your own life? What is your value in society? What is my value in society? What do I bring to people? What do you bring to people? When we are dead and gone, what will we leave behind? That's how life is to be evaluated. Not with the materialistic things that we become preoccupied with and fight so much and struggle so much for it. We're going to die and leave it. And that's still not going to help our children more than just give them roti, kapra or makan, if you can give them that much. But it's the value of life. And this messenger made it very clear. أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ. We are equal to the Prophet in the sense that he was from the human community and we are from the human community. But we are unequal to him in terms of his determination, his commitment, his resoluteness, his sincerity, his sacrifice. We only say his name and kiss all over the places. And we get away with it because we live in a cheap society. We don't have to produce anything. We don't have to prove anything. You show me the community that loved the Prophet. What have they done with their lives? What have they done with the lives of their children? Who cares about that? It's easy to make a lot of noise when you're just a useless, empty vessel. Don't forget the Qur'an tells you and me that if you and I are really honest and truthful and sincere about following guidance, the misguidance of no one will prevent us from being guided. If the Muslims were really following the Prophet of the Qur'an, their communities would not be what it is. Their countries would not be what it is. Their jama'ats and jam'iyyats and organizations would not be what it is. Their homes will not be what it is. The average mothers and fathers will not be what they are. They'll be leaders of their lives because they'll be focused on values, not on appearance. They'll be focused on values, not on appearance. They'll be focused on real issues, not on cheap slogans. Are you really worried what you're leaving behind? Are you concerned of how much you have lived and what you have done with your life? This should be the concern of every mother and father if you are alive. If at least you're basic in intelligence. Not superlative, at least basic. And the Prophet said, وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَتِي رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا. The Prophet was such an outstanding human being, he abandoned the culture of his society. He abandoned the rituals of the Arabs. He abandoned the religion of the Arabs. This was the Prophet. Can you abandon the religion you inherit from forefathers? Can I abandon that? We can hardly do that. Because why? We assume whatever our mothers and fathers and grandmothers and grandfathers follow, it is right. We assume that. We assume that. And that's why we are where we are. We have the greatest comforts in Canada, but our achievements is next to zero. We have the greatest comforts in Canada. Examine all of us, and you'll see the comforts we have, and see what we produce in our own life. We are the failures of tomorrow's society, because we take the resources of Allah, and we just sit down with it. We want others to make the changes. We don't want to do the changes. We are just like the community of the Prophet. You'll be discovering that from the Qur'an as I divulge it to myself and to you. The Prophet was one person in his society. The first one in his society. The first one in his society who did not compromise Allah. Shirk means to compromise Allah. It means to compromise the divine values, divine standards, divine principles, divine teachings. It means to feel that others can produce like Allah. It makes no sense to read all this Qur'an in Arabic and courting shirk in practical ways. It's a misconception. So the Prophet was a human being, yes. But what a human being he was. He was a human being who had a determination. Don't think that you and I alone have challenges. Every human being has challenges depending on his goals, his ambition, his responsibility. And who could have a higher goal than this messenger? His goal was to do what? He had to take himself out of darkness. He had to make sure that he doesn't court in darkness, that he's not part of his society with darkness. Today, many of us, even though, let us say we know better, we dilute the rules, the laws, the values. Oh, this is my friend. Oh, this is my uncle. Or this is my aunt. This Prophet didn't do that. He was someone who told the community very clearly, don't see me anything more than a human being, but a human being who has decided to hold on to divine life. A human being who has decided to turn his back on the religion of his forefathers. Muslims today, in Canada and any other part of the world, we cannot be much different unless we seek to be different. We cannot rise out of what we are in unless we want to do it. Even though we claim we love this man called Mohamed. It is easy to profess love. It is hard to deliver it. Allah made it very clear to this Prophet. He told him in Surah An'am in chapter 6, 106, what he should follow and what he should not. He too had dictation. This Prophet wasn't born with Iman.